Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the AEW Dynamite review. We're about to jump right on into this thing, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Also, hit the notification bell to be notified of every video that I make. So, no more time to waste. Hangman, Matt Hardy versus Angelico and Jack Evans. I thought that this was a decent match to start off with. It didn't really pick up until Hangman got the hot tag. And Angelico and Jack Evans got in a little bit more offense than I would have thought, but Hangman and Matt Hardy would pick up the victory. But the story was not the match. The story was what happened after the match. Matt Hardy thought that he took 30%. Well, Hangman told him that no, he signed a contract for Revolution. And if he loses, Hangman gets 100% of the earnings. And we have a money match because whoever loses will give up their check to the next person. And this is a interesting match. We had after the match Isaiah Cassidy, Duval. Isaiah Cassidy was Duval. Easy for me to say, excuse me. And the beatdown was laid on Hangman until the Dark Order came out and saved the day. So I find, you know what? I wasn't interested in having Hangman join the Dark Order, but they have done some things to make me care about it. To make me care that, you know what? Hangman leading the Dark Order would be pretty interesting. I am in on that. So I want to see how it all plays out going forward. Moving on. The Inner Circle is backstage. Santana and Ortiz is talking about how this is the first title opportunity that they've had since they've been in 18 months. Just highlights how much, when I get on Twitter and I say that Santana and Ortiz is underused and they deserve better, that highlights everything. But we had MJF was pissed off at Sammy Guevara as well. So was Chris Jericho. He said that Sammy Guevara was dead to him. And the Sammy Guevara storyline is turning into one of the best things in wrestling. We all await now for when he comes back and gets the pop of the century. We'll see how it all turns out. Next up, we had a Serena Deeb versus Rio. And look, I appreciate the fact of the placement of this match. The ladies were second up on the docket. Normally they just stick the ladies right before the main event. And you know what? Good job this time around. But one issue that I have before I get into this match, like the women's tournament, like what are we doing here? So much of it is on the Japan side is on YouTube, and then we have some more matches that are going to be on YouTube. And like if the majority of this tournament was going to take place on YouTube, then why even make the tournament this big? These matches should be taking place on Dynamite and Dark. If you knew that, you would make a tournament too big and that you would have to put it on YouTube. Don't make the tournament that big. It's very simple. That's my take on the situation. But moving on to Serena versus Rio, this was actually a really good match, man. We have some tremendous near falls. I really thought that Serena Deeb would take the match. But Rio picks up the victory, if I'm not mistaken, with the roll-up. But nevertheless, a fantastic match. One of the better AEW Dynamite matches for the women. And I enjoyed every second of it. I thought Serena should have won, but I have no problems with Rio taking the victory here. So moving on, we had Orange Cassidy versus Luther. And this wasn't much of a match at all. We had Chuck Taylor on the outside. Serpentico on the outside as well. This didn't go very long. Orange Cassidy picks up the victory. And we kept it moving after that. Not much at all in this match up. Next up, we had Team Taz come out. And I'm thinking, oh man, we're going to have the same segment that we've had for the last, couple of months now. Team Taz comes out. They run their mouth. Sting comes out. They back down and it's over. Well, surprise, surprise. Thing came out and Taz was talking about the bat and you need the bat, and this reminded me of there was an old, I think it was Uncensored 97, and Hogan told Sting put down the bat. Sting put down the bat and raised up his hands and crowd went wild. Sting did it again. Crowd goes wild this time, and Sting goes on the offense, and I'm like, okay, look at Sting. And for his troubles, 61-year-old Sting took a hellacious powerbomb. Like, Brian Cage showed no mercy, and I cringed. I jumped up like, oh my God, man. And reports have that Sting is just fine. And that is good. Man, Sting can take a bump like that. He can take anything at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how that tag match turns out. I don't know if it's going to be a cinematic match or if it's going to be live. We shall see. But Sting, look at that. Legs just up in the air. Hellacious powerbomb, man. Moving on, we had Kenny Omega. Oh, before we got to Kenny Omega, Jim Ross called this man the WWE champion, and people went nuts on Twitter with it, man. It was very funny in my estimation, and boy, Jim Ross had a hell of a slip up right there. Like, if it was Vince McMahon back there, poor Jim Ross probably would have gotten fired. But nevertheless, we had Kenny Omega reading the Young Bucks book to the kids. We had a kid ask, well, are they in love? That was hilarious to me. Nevertheless, it ends with Mike Nakazawa getting beat up by kids as we move on to the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz. And let me say this, man. This should have been the match at Revolution, at the Bucks versus Chris Jericho and MJF. Like, no, man, I don't want to see two singles guys get thrown together and then just have a run at the tag titles. That's just not, no. I didn't even really like it when Hangman and Omega did it, but it worked out. Nevertheless, this should have been a matchup at Revolution. Nevertheless, we got it last night, and it was a hell of a match. The Inner Circle got thrown out immediately, and man, what a match. We had a freaking Michinoku driver from the top rope. That was a great near fall. I actually thought the match was over. We had the street sweeper for the near fall when, man, it really looked like the ref's hand hit for the 3 count, and I was like, oh my God, that was 3. But nevertheless, this was a fantastic matchup. It looked like Santana and Ortiz would pick up the victory, but the Bucks went on a surprise roll-up, and they get the victory immediately in the Inner Circle. What am I on today? They come out, they start beating down the Bucks, and backstage, Omega in the club, they're just watching, and like they're just looking, and here came Gallows and Anderson eventually. What gets me about wrestling, man? How do you have 7 people in the ring, and Gallows and Anderson comes out with no weapons, they just retreat? Like, what are we doing here? It's just 2 people, and they don't even have a weapon. Like, the machine gun, Anderson doesn't even have a machine gun. What are you running for? That's just me. We'll see how the club plays out with the newfound Bullet Club, or how they get along. We'll see. Next up, we have the gender reveal, and I gotta say that, you know what, I thought this would be one long, elaborated segment, but it was very simple. Brandy Rhodes comes out, and it's a girl. Like, we have a 4th generation Rhodes. I kept saying 3rd generation without counting Dusty. This is a 4th generation wrestling Rhodes, and with the way that women are getting empowered and the way women are getting booked and whatnot in wrestling, if this little beautiful baby girl goes down the wrestling route, I cannot wait to see how it goes. Like, congratulations to Brandy, congratulations to Cody. All job well done. And moving on, we had FTR versus the Seidel brothers, and I gotta say that Mike Seidel looked very good, man. And I didn't know anything about Mike Seidel at all. I knew, obviously, we know about Matt. But Mike looked really good here. I'm excited to see what Seidel brothers bring to the table going forward. FTR picks up the victory with the big rig. And you know what? We had after the match, the Jurassic Express, and I cannot wait to see how this turns out going forward. FTR Jurassic Express, and this has been a really good storyline in my estimation. It has drawn me in to see as we go forward, as we head to Revolution. So, moving on, we had Moxley outside talking about Kenta, how he was going to break Kenta's neck, and how he talked about how he was going to get the title back from Kenny Omega. Much more on that later. And after that, we had Mox, we had Archer, we had Phoenix versus Butcher and the Blade and Kingston. This was a very fun match. Lance Archer dominated early, and adoring Phoenix, man. He has surpassed Cesaro as the greatest person that can do the hot tag, like the greatest hot tagger in all of wrestling, for lack of a better term. When he gets in that ring, when he gets that hot tag, he goes insane, man. Like 100 miles an hour. It is fantastic television. What a great thing also that happened in this match, Moxley versus Kingston, it squared off and went at it, man. I absolutely enjoyed it. At the end of the day, Jon Moxley picks up the victory, and Max Archer and Phoenix goes up to pick up the victory, and the match ended. It was like 8:56, 8:55 or so. So the first thing I say is, oh man, what's going to happen now? Who's going to show up? Sure enough, Kenny Omega shows up. The others show up. They lay the beat down on Jon Moxley, and Kenny Omega announces at Revolution, it will be an exploding barbed wire match. So the first thing I'm thinking, what the hell is an exploding barbed wire death match? I know I couldn't have been the only one, so if you're wondering what it is, let's go ahead and take a look. This was Oneida versus the great Terry Funk. And I'm just going to give you a quick clip here. If you don't know in the explosion how it all turns out, then yeah. Look, man, it's every bit of what they say it is. Here we go. Here we have a clip right here. What is an exploding death match? There you go. That, my friends, is an exploding barbed wire death match to the finish. So, look, AEW, you present yourself as the not PG company. If you're gonna go down this route, you got to go down this route. You can't put it in effect of, well, we want to protect the wrestlers. No, it's an exploding barbed wire death match. I want to see explosives all around the ring when they touch it. Poor Renee Young, I feel sorry for her all the time when Jon Moxley gets himself involved in these type of matches. Nevertheless, if this is what it's gonna be, then it better be physical, it better be violent, I better get color, and we'll see, man. It's interesting, and we'll see if they go all out. I'm pretty sure they will. They have their other death match, so we'll see how it all turns out. That is the AEW Dynamite review, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know all your thoughts on Twitter at 2SweetPod, the number 2 SweetPod, or at OMG Corey B. Leave a like on this video, ladies and